fireworks at the GOP debate yesterday in Des Moines, where candidates faced off with one another over terror, taxes, and some other hot topics. So who came out ahead in the minds of voters? Pollster and the author of the great book called Words That Work, Frank Luntz, joins us from Washington. Good morning to you, Frank.
Good morning. It was a tough flight back from Iowa to Washington, D.C. Well, I got to tell you, what I heard last night blew me away.
And is it true Huckabee was the winner?
I know you're expecting me to say that Mitt Romney did really well, that Rudy Giuliani did well, or that John McCain came back. But in reality, it was the top of the second tier that surprised voters the most. Now, we used our patented Fox dials to get a second-by-second reaction from our 29 Republican voters to each candidate during the 90 minutes of the ABC debate. And what we found was that Mike Huckabee, in his communication, in the language that he used, took voters who, for the most part, had never even heard of him and turned them into Huckabee supporters. Now watch the lines as they go up. The yellow line represents conservatives, the red line represents moderates. Watch how high they climb when Mike Huckabee talks about the changes that are needed to American health care. Let's take a look.
You know what? If you want to know how to fix it, I got a solution. Either give every American the same kind of health care that Congress has, or make Congress have the same kind of health care that every American has. They'll get it fixed. And the issue in this country is that we really have an incredible problem because our system is upside down. It focuses on intervention at the catastrophic level of disease rather than really focusing on prevention.
They believe in that. Yes, go ahead.
I was just going to say, obviously, health care is something that the people of Iowa are very interested in.
Health care is an issue that transcends politics and transcends ideology. Now, Democrats have a different approach than Republicans. Democrats are more willing to support universal care. Republicans are still focused on the free market system. But when Huckabee talked about giving health care the same benefits to the average American that Congress has, that really scores. And we have a second clip for you. When Huckabee talks about changing the infrastructure of America and how we're so tied to the past, here's a guy who's focused on wasteful Washington spending as an outsider. Watch how well he scores on this clip about America's infrastructure.
We're spending billions of dollars all over our country and around the world. But it may be time that we start spending some of those billions of dollars to deal with our own infrastructure. And the bridge isn't the only problem. Anybody who's flown lately, as I do pretty regularly in the commercial system, know that we have a complete gridlock. And part of that problem is that we've got a system of air traffic control that was designed in 1950, 5 years before I was born.
The public wants to see our infrastructure modernized, and the tragedy that happened in Minneapolis when Mike Huckabee talked about taking things to the 21st century, air traffic and the other aspects of our infrastructure, the Iowa voters said yes. And I want you to hear the sound, so don't take my word for it. I want to emphasize that these 29 people did not know who Mike Huckabee was when he came in. Let's hear what they had to say after watching him for 90 minutes.
I felt like he was really honest, and I felt like he was really answering the questions that everybody was asking, and he didn't skate around them, and that's a big thing, is the honesty.
He came off, as everybody has said, somebody refreshing, more down to earth, not Washington, not rich.
A lot of the Washington candidates, they seem to speak at you. Huckabee seemed to speak right to you. It was like he was talking to you to tell you exactly what he felt.
He answered the question he was asked, and he gave you an answer. He didn't slide around trying to stick in a bunch of copy he had pre-written. He's very honest, I think.
All right, so the people of Iowa see him as honest, and perhaps he won that particular debate yesterday morning at Drake. But what does that mean?
It means that he may go from mid-level second tier to the top of the second tier, and the latest polls from Iowa show him tied with John McCain. So if there's one candidate that could break out at the Ames straw poll coming up in about 10 days, it's Mike Huckabee.
All right, great. Frank Luntz reporting live from our bureau. Wrote a great book called Words at Work. Frank will be back with us 1 hour from now. Thank you, sir.